and support. So I'm especially glad to see this excellent crowd, to meet our wonderful, impressive, talented visitors.
Yes.
Here, here.
This is, yes. This is the 5th lecture in a series of 6, focusing on the contributions of immigrants to America and the richness that they bring to the fabric and the fiber of our country. And so we call this series a cultural quilt, because we are indeed all bound together and weave our story together. I would like to introduce now Sarah. Where are you, Sarah?
I'm right here.
Okay. She is the president of the Ghanaian sister city, which is Princess Town, and I will leave it to her talented and just creative spirit to introduce you and guide you through this program. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Catherine. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sarah Artson, the president of the Fredericksburg Princess Town Association. I'm happy to share that we are now an official nonprofit. Hal Hawley, please stand up. He's our official treasurer. And we are very happy to accept any membership. I extend a very warm welcome to each of you. And in the Akan language, Mima wa Akwaba, which means I welcome you. I am especially happy to acknowledge the presence of Ms. Golda Asante, Director of the Administration and General Services at the Office of Local Government Services in Accra. Ms. Asante's office is responsible for sister city relations and international collaborations. She has several colleagues with her and who have traveled across the waters from Ghana to be with us this evening. And she will introduce them when she gives her remarks. But we welcome all of you.
Thank you.
I extend a very special welcome to the Honorable Reverend Lord Owusu Mensah, the mayor of our sister city of Princess Town. Please stand up. And Ms. Abina Anita Akan, please stand. She is a veteran educator of Princess Town. This is the mayor's first visit to Fredericksburg. And this trip is his first flight, so we're very honored. Ms. Akan has visited our city and our country several times, but we're very happy to have her return. Let us all give her a special round of applause. Thank you. I'm also very happy to acknowledge the presence of former Mayor of Fredericksburg, Mary Catherine Greenlaw. Please stand. I believe we have several council men and women with us. If Joy Crump is here, please stand. She's not, thank you. And we have city members such as the city councilman and our sister city liaison, Brenda Martin, please stand. And any officials that I might have missed, I think we have former Mayor Bill Beck, please stand. Former Councilman Reverend Hashmil Turner, please stand. And other special guests, historian Eunice Hagler, please stand. Ms. which is tomorrow. And Dr. Paula Worcester, if you're in the building, please stand. Now, thank you. She is one of the founders of our sister city, so thank you again for that. So I welcome everyone. Thank you for those that come from Ghana, and for those that do plan to visit, you are all most welcome. Okay, to begin our program this evening, we will have a musical selection from the Tema Choir USA. The ensemble, under the direction of Mr. Abina Alote, or Mr. Ebenezer Alote. The full choir just returned yesterday from their European tour. So thank you so much for joining. They went to London and Paris. This wonderful group has performed in Fredericksburg several times.
Yeah.
They were here in March for the Fredericksburg Ghana Friendship Day.
Yeah.
And they also celebrated Xavier Richardson Day, which is back in 2021. So thank you so much for coming here, especially after a long flight.
Yes.
Okay, and they will now perform Our Great Virginia. Choir for that beautiful rendition of Our Great Virginia. Please now enjoy a short video that focuses on the relationship between Ghana and the United States.
The Republic of Ghana and the United States of America have enjoyed continuous diplomatic relations since Ghana's independence 69 years ago. Fraternal relations between Ghanaian and U.S. citizens, particularly citizens of African descent, have been very warm. Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah, also known as Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, grew up in Ghana's Nzema area near Fredericksburg's sister city town known as Princess Town or Pokeso, which is where Fort Gross Fredericksburg is also located in Ghana. George Washington, the first president of the United States, also spent his boyhood growing up in the Fredericksburg area of Virginia. Presidential visits have often occurred between the United States and Ghana, including visits to Ghana by U.S. presidents like Bill Clinton, George Bush, Barack Obama, and Jimmy Carter. On the other hand, Ghanaian presidents that have visited the United States of America include Jerry John Rawlings, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, John Agyekum Kufuor, John Atta Mills, and President John Dramani Mahama. What you're looking at right now are memories from the year of return between the United States of America and the Republic of Ghana. Fredericksburg's own Pamela E. Bridgewater served as United States Ambassador to the Republic of Ghana from the years 2005 to 2008. Her ambassadorship further strengthened ties between the two nations and their respective peoples. U.S. businesses, especially airlines, have increased interest in and travel to Ghana. As a result, Ghanaian professionals in healthcare, media, religion, housing construction, science, and culinary expertise have enriched the U.S. through this development. With the establishment of the Fredericksburg Princess Town Sister City Partnership in the year 2006, visits between the sister cities have been ongoing. The relationship between the United States and the Republic of Ghana has been enriched by cultural, medical, and educational exchanges, leading to business ventures and the strengthening of personal ties. Ghana's talent is permanently enriched in U.S. culture, with one stunning example being the astoundingly magnificent-looking Museum of African American History and Culture, designed by Chief Architect of Ghanaian descent, Sir David Ejiri. Long may our friendship and partnership live and flourish.
I now invite Ms. Golda Asante to share her remarks.
Thank you very much. Distinguished Fredericksburg leaders and public officials, representatives of the African Dream Consultancy, dear Fredericksburg community, members of the Ghanaian and African diaspora, community leaders, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the introduction and good evening to you all.
Good evening.
Permit me to introduce the delegation from Ghana's local government service. We have here Municipal Coordinating Director, Mr. Kwame Addo. Assistant Director, Alexander. Senior Development Officer, Franklin. And we have a beautiful lady also joining us from Global Youth Empowerment Network, Lauren Shell. So we bring you warm greetings from the Office of Ghana's Local Government Service and the head of the Local Government Service, Professor Lord Mensah, who was scheduled to be here, and so I'm delivering this speech on his behalf. I am delighted to participate in this important Sister City lecture, marking the 250th anniversary of the United States of America and celebrating the growing partnership between Fredericksburg, Virginia, and Princess Town in Ghana's Ahanta West municipality. I deem it a great honor to share reflections on the role of the local government service of Ghana in promoting development through sister city relations. And on behalf of the local government service of Ghana, I wish to express our sincere appreciation to the African Dream Consultancy, the Embassy of Ghana in Washington, D.C., the City of Fredericksburg, and all partners for the warmth of this engagement and for the commitment shown in strengthening ties between our communities. This initiative reflects the growing recognition that local governments are central to delivering development and improving the lives of citizens. On the matter of sister city partnerships, we believe they serve as platforms for shared development. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, sister city relations have evolved beyond ceremonial partnership into practical instruments for development cooperation. They provide opportunities for cities and local government to share experiences, exchange knowledge, build institutional capacity, and collaborate on solutions to common challenges. The local government service of Ghana plays a strategic role in ensuring that sister city partnerships serve as effective instruments for local development rather than merely symbolic relationships. Through partnerships, the service not only facilitates cooperation between local governments, but also extends learning opportunities to universities, professional bodies, and development institutions, ensuring global best practices in municipal administration, urban planning, environmental management, sanitation, digital governance, and public service delivery. Ladies and gentlemen, all of these come together to create that beautiful culture guild that binds us together to create the beautiful Princess Town and Fredericksburg City, sister city relationship. The true value of sister city relationships lies in their impact on citizens. And when partnerships improve public services, citizens benefit. When they strengthen capacity, communities benefits. When they promote investment and innovation, local economies benefit. And when they foster cultural understanding, society also benefits. This is why development cooperation must always remain people-centered. At its core, development is about improving livelihoods, expanding opportunities, and building stronger and more resilient communities. This engagement, therefore, provides an opportunity to develop cooperation, share experiences, and explore innovative solutions that will benefit both communities. The experience of Ahanta West demonstrates how public service delivery can be improved through collaboration, stakeholder engagement, and community-centered development initiative, participatory local governance through regular town hall engagement with citizens, supporting local economic development initiative, and improving birth registration coverage through community outreach, and promoting inclusive governance through targeted support for vulnerable groups, including persons with disabilities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the future of international cooperation would increasingly be shaped not only by relationship between nations, but also by partnership between cities and local governments. Sister city relations offer a powerful platform for sharing knowledge, building capacity, and promoting sustainable development. And for the Local Government Service of Ghana, these partnerships are not ends in themselves, but instruments for development and pathways for improving the lives of our citizens. We are excited about the next 2 decades, what it holds for the Princess Town and Fredericksburg City, sister city relationship, and we cannot wait to display the beauty of this beautiful fabric. We are excited once again to have Fredericksburg and Princess Town coming together to do something beautiful. God bless us all. God bless Ghana. God bless the United States of America. And thank you so much for your audience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Asante. Our lecture presentation will be by Oral Ofori, the CEO of The African Dream. Oral is an award-winning Ghanaian-born podcast host and media specialist, now living in Fredericksburg. But before he speaks, I am so happy to put a face and voice to Princess Town and ask the mayor of Princess Town, the Honorable Reverend Lord Owusu Mensah, who's visiting our nation in our city for the first time, to speak and to share his remarks before Oral. We have tried this week to match the legendary hospitality of Ghana. Mayor Owusu Mensah has an impressive bio, and he's the youngest Assemblyman elected in Princess Town. So welcome.
Thanks so much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It is with deep joy and sincere humility that I stand before you tonight. I bring you warm greetings from the good people of Princess Town and the town on the beautiful western coast of Ghana. Before I go further, I want to pause and take you on a journey that is very remarkable across the life of a name. My town's original name is Pokezo, today widely known and spelled as Pokeso, P-O-K-E-S-U. It means a hilltop, and that hilltop is no ordinary hill. It is Manfro Hill, the very hill on which Fort Gross Fredericksburg stands. Settlement began there on that elevation, where the land meets the sky and the ocean stretches endlessly before you. That is where our story starts. Now, when the Brandenburg Prussians arrived on our coast in 1681 and completed their magnificent fort by 1683, they named it in honor of Prince Frederick William I, Elector of Brandenburg. And so, as traders, sailors, and travelers began to make their way to a small but remarkable coastal town, they would say, "I am going to the Princess Town." Prince apostrophe S. That is a singular prince. And so, Pokezo began to wear a new name by the simple, unstoppable power of encounter. With time, the apostrophe drifted and the name evolved into Princess Town with no apostrophe. As if to say, we are not the town of one prince, but of many princes. And maybe it is so. We are clothed in royalty, so there are princes in Princess Town. And perhaps when you encounter the dignity of our people, the depth of our heritage, the courage written in our very soil, you understand that royalty is not borrowed, but inherited. But the story does not end there, because in our indigenous tradition, our town has a soul, and that soul is feminine. It is believed to be a woman born on a Wednesday. And in the Akan tradition, a woman born on Wednesday is called a Kia. So we call our town a Kia. We speak of her, we sing to her, we call her by name. Now, these Brandenburg Prussians who came to our shores, in time our people began to call them Prussians. And as language does what language always does, it bent, it softened, it became our own. So Prussian became Prussi. And here is where the final metamorphosis occurred. When those outside our community heard a Kia Prussi, they did not hear a hilltop, a Wednesday, or a Prussian. They heard princess. They said, surely this Kia must be a princess. And so Princess Town was born. Also, sometimes when the locals heard princess with an apostrophe, it sounded more like princess due to the feminine attachment behind the town's name in the traditional sense. As a result, princess became acceptable, like I've explained above. But these are all beautiful representations of the colorful tapestry that over the many decades have gone into weaving the quilt that adorns the name of our township. Today, our town carries various names depending on what story you are telling. Tonight, we gather under the beautiful theme of the Cultural Quilt. And as America commemorates the 25th year of independence, we are reminded how profoundly African hands, and specifically Ghanaian hands, have been among those stitching this quilt together. The waters of the Rappahannock River, on whose banks we gather this evening, carry centuries of memory. Long before this library stood here, the shores of this river witnessed the arrival of many souls from the Gold Coast, the land that is today Ghana. They came with something that could not be removed. They came with culture, they came with rhythm, they came with wisdom, and they came with resilience. Their contributions became woven quietly and permanently into the fabric of American life. Consider the threat they brought. In music, the rhythmic foundations of African drumming, deeply rooted in Ghanaian tradition, flowed into the soul of American jazz, blues, and gospel. In food, the crops like okra, black-eyed peas, and yams arrived as living cultural memory, and culinary knowledge carried from the Gold Coast enriched the American table. In medicine, the herbal knowledge and healing traditions of West African communities contributed to early medical practice in Americas in ways history is only now beginning to fully document and honor. In the arts, the visual traditions of West Africa, the Edikra symbols, kente weaving, goldwork, have shaped African American artistic expressions across generations. And in civic life, Ghanaians in America today are among the most educated immigrant communities in this nation. Physicians, engineers, academics, entrepreneurs, and public servants continuing to add their thread to this great American quilt. Princess Town stands at the heart of this story. Our community sits along Ghana's historic western coastline. The historic Fort Gross Fredericksburg has watched over the Atlantic for centuries, and from its walls, one can look across the very waters that connected our shores to these shores. Nearly flows the river Nyala. You take note of the names, they are Ezema names. The river Nyala meeting the Atlantic in a breathtaking estuary, the peaceful Ehone Lagoon, surrounded by mangrove forest, shelters extraordinary wildlife, playful monkeys in the canopy, crocodiles resting in the Asian quiet, and stretching along our coast are wide, tranquil beaches where the rhythm of the waves invite reflection, wonder, and peace. Our town also produced one of the Gold Coast's most remarkable figures, John Kano, also known as John Connie. We call him Jane Connie. That is in Zaman. A leader of extraordinary courage, diplomatic skill, and fierce commitment to the dignity and sovereignty of his people. His defensive wall, stretching from the Ehole Lagoon to the River Nyala, and the sacred rooms of his spiritual advisor, Sau Abami's shrine, still stand as testimony to a people who refuse to surrender their identity. In recent years, our community has united around the Princess Town Rebirth agenda, anchoring in education and empowerment, infrastructure and community development, cultural and heritage promotion, youth leadership and civic engagement, and economic opportunity through tourism and international partnerships. Currently, we are upgrading our clinic, we are strengthening our schools, we are lightening our streets, we are completing community sanitation facilities, and we are building cultural centers that will carry our story into generations yet unborn. Tonight, we celebrate the Fredericksburg Princess Town Sister City partnership with fresh vision and renewed commitment. Thanks to the amiable scholar, Dr. Paula Reister. And she was ably supported and now being moved greatly by the one and only Ambassador Pamela Bridgewater. We envision people from Fredericksburg visiting Princess Town to encounter African history firsthand. We envision students from our town gaining mentorship and educational exposure here in Virginia. We envision cultural festivals, heritage tours, research collaborations, and entrepreneurial partnerships that enrich both our communities. We do not want a partnership that simply looks good on paper. We want one that changes lives on the ground.
Yes.
The Cultural Quilt is not finished. Every generation adds to its square. Tonight, as America marks 250 years of becoming, we have the privilege of adding another, a square that connects the Rappahannock River to the Atlantic coast of Ghana, that joins the story of Princess Town to the story of Fredericksburg. And that reminds us that the most enduring quilts that are made not from sameness, but from the beautiful, purposeful joining of difference and a respect for diversity. I have seen what determination can achieve. I have seen a community once discouraged begin to dream again, like my own. I have seen people who once doubted begin to believe again. And I've seen how partnerships like the one we celebrate tonight can breathe new life into the aspirations of our people and make it operational. The story of Princess Town is still being written, and I believe the chapters ahead will be the most glorious in our history. But we cannot write them alone. We write them together with partners, with friends and people who believe that collaboration across cultures and continents can create something truly meaningful and lasting. To the people of Fredericksburg, thank you for believing in this partnership. Thank you for helping rekindle this bridge of friendship. And thank you for working with us as we build a future of promise, opportunity, and shared prosperity. Let us continue to build. Let us continue to celebrate. Let us continue to dream. And together, across oceans, across cultures, across generations, we would transform this partnership into a legacy that neither time nor tide can erase. Thank you very much.
Don't you just love him? Thank you, Catherine. I really appreciate it. I'm not here to fill his shoes. They are big shoes. I'm just here to remind you of how big they are. All right. And to make sure they keep shining. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, community leaders, and friends, all protocols observed. It is my honor to stand before you and speak about a relationship that is at once historic and deeply alive. Stitched from different times and places into a single work of shared meaning, it is an amazing story. When we speak of a quilt, we imagine pieces of cloth, each bearing its own pattern, story, and purpose, sewn together until they form something more whole and more beautiful than any single square. The metaphor is especially fitting for the connection between Fredericksburg and the Ghanaian town of Princess Town, where threads of history, memory, resistance, and celebration cross an ocean and find one another. Our sister city relationship is rooted in its name and places echo across centuries. In the late 17th century,
a fortress was built on the coast of what is now Ghana. That Fort Gross Fredericksburg, was constructed by Brandenburg Prussian, like my kind mayor said, traders as part of their presence on the Gold Coast, and was named in honor of Prince Frederick William. The stone walls of that fort and the resilience of the people who lived around it have left traces that persist to this day. They form a physical and symbolic link between Princess Town and Fredericksburg. We know right now America is celebrating her 250th birthday, but we're here to take you back in time. Fort Gross Fredericksburg is not only an architectural remnant, it is a reminder of a shared, if painful sometimes, history that binds these communities together. Within the story of that fort stands one of the crucial Ghanaian figures whose name should never be forgotten, Johnny Konoy. He is sometimes remembered in oral history and festivals, traditions as a leader and organizer who resisted colonial forces during the early 18th century. Now, because the Europeans could not pronounce some African names properly, Kenu became the English epithet for the last name of Emperor Konoy. His first name, Johnny, became John to the tongue of the Westerners. The Kenu part of his name also came about as a result of the foreigners linking it to the fact that he used canoes to patrol waterways and collect huge fees from the foreigners. He ruled over multiple states up to the Ashanti Kingdom in Ghana, parts of Cote d'Ivoire, and down through Takoradi as well, and Elmina. He is known in local memory for refusing to surrender the fort and for organizing resistance that lasted many years. An emblem of the courage and agency of the West African people whose lives were disrupted by European empires. Johnny Konoy and his story reminds us that the people on whose coast were not passive victims. That's the people on the coast where the Europeans first settled were not passive victims of history, but actors with agency. They had their own agency. And their decisions and cultures shaped the world that followed. 3 centuries later, in 2006, that historical significance found a formal expression when the city of Fredericksburg and Princess Town established a sister city partnership. The significant partnership became alive with the signing of that agreement, which was not a casual act of diplomacy. It was a deliberate reaching across history and geography. On that day, Ghana's Deputy Minister of Tourism and Diaspora Relations, Mr. Joe Bedu Ansah, signed on behalf of the Ghanaian side, while Fredericksburg's mayor at the time, Mayor Tom Zach, signed on behalf of the American side, forming an exchange that signaled a desire to build cultural, educational, and community links that acknowledge shared histories and promote mutual understanding. That ceremony was witnessed by people who knew that names and places carry memory across oceans, and who wanted that memory to be honored in the present. The sister city bond has been more than ceremonial. It has created living opportunities for reconnection and celebration. I'm a living testament and testimony of that bond. Standing here and being able to deliver this lecture is a huge blessing, and I take it very, very serious. Thank you, Dr. Paula Royster, for setting all of this in motion. Fredericksburg observance of Ghana's Independence Day as a Friendship Day and the cultural events that accompany it in the forms of music, dance, food, and exhibitions of Ghanaian textile arts are moments when communities meet, learn from each other, and remember that histories of displacement and migration need not to be the end of the story. These gatherings provide a space for descendants of those who were taken across the Atlantic to reclaim fragments of identity and to celebrate continuity rather than only loss. To understand why these connections matter so deeply, we must listen to the language of cloth in Ghanaian culture. Fabric in Ghana is not decoration alone. It is a language of social meaning, a ledger of values, worn record of political status, and spiritual connection. Kente cloth, the most widely known of these textiles, is an art form born of long practice and symbolic sophistication. Woven in narrow stripes and sewn together, kente is itself a kind of quilt. Patterns align, colors converse, and the finished piece communicates ideas, honor, leadership, resilience, or of mourning through motifs and hues. The legend of Kente's origin, told in Akan oral tradition, recalls the inspiration of a spider's web, an image that links craftsmanship to creativity, patience, and natural world. To wear Kente is to wear history. To wear Kente is to wear Ghana. To wear Kente is to wear Africa. You might be following the World Cup that is going on. Ghana just last night scored a remarkable last-minute goal. And then we say, whoop, whoop! Against Panama. I mean, it happened in the last minute. Just when you thought it was not going to happen, just when you thought it was over, it wasn't over. That last minute counted. That is the spirit of resilience. That is the spirit of persistence. And that is the spirit we're all here to partake of. It is fitting that Ghana has taken decisive steps to protect this heritage for future generations. In 2025, barely a year ago, Kente was granted formal recognition as a protected cultural product, geographical indication status, so that only cloth woven in certified Ghanaian weaving communities may adequately and rightfully be called Kente. This legal recognition is an assertion that the weavers who preserve, the leaders who preserve this tradition deserve recognition and economic benefits for their labor. When we display or celebrate Kente in Fredericksburg, we should do so with that recognition in mind. Honoring the makers, the place, and the story behind each cloth. Alongside Kente is Edinkra. The Edinkra cloth is a form of tradition in which symbols are stamped to carry proverbs and moral instructions. Symbols such as Sankofa, which is very popular outside of Ghana, to wit, it means return and fetch it, reminds communities to retrieve lessons from their past, while other emblems speak to divine protection or communal values. Edinkra has long been used in rites of passage and funeral context. It is a public script of philosophy and remembrance sewn and stamped onto fabrics. In Fredericksburg, when people take the time to learn these symbols, they are entering into a moral conversation that bridges oceans. When we look specifically for Ghanaian contribution to the history and identity of Fredericksburg, some names stand clearly in the archival records and public memory, and others stand in the lives of communities whose origins are only now being recorded. Beyond named figures, there are countless unnamed ancestors, many brought through the ports of the Gold Coast, of course, which is now Ghana, whose labor and culture shaped the social fabric of early Fredericksburg. When people like myself and the mayor and those who believe in the value of culture and history walk into rooms like this, we do not only get here by the power of our 2 feet that move one step in front of each other, we get here through the blessings and the spirit of our ancestors on whose shoulders we are carried.
That's right.
Local researchers and community historians, together with geologists, have been working to reclaim these hidden stories, tracing family lines, examining records, and lifting up the memory of those whose names were not recorded in the pages of official histories. Their work helps us see that Ghanaian contributions to Fredericksburg are not just marginal, but central to a fuller telling of the city's past and the city's potential. This recognition must change the way we perceive and practice cultural exchange. When Ghanaian dancers come to our stages, and please don't ask me to dance, thank you. And when we display Kente and Edinkra, we should do so with learning at the center, sharing the meanings, naming the weavers, and offering credit and support. Friendship Day should not be a spectacle alone. It should be an educational moment and an economic opportunity for Ghanaian artisans and communities. When we teach our young people to read Ghanaian cloth as they would read a book, recognizing colors, motifs, and towns that wove them, we are passing on a knowledge that respects origin and resists appropriation. The cultural quilt that joins Fredericksburg and Princess Town reminds us of others' more personal reconnections as well. For many African American families in Fredericksburg, the past has been a silence only broken by discoveries. A family heirloom, a naming pattern, a culinary memory that hints at West African roots. I'm not saying it. The records are there for all to see. If you know where to look, you'll find them. In some local cemeteries, for example, here in Fredericksburg, archaeologists and community historians have documented artifacts such as cowries shells that recall West African spiritual and social practices. Traces that help to link community memory back to the coast of Ghana. These small traces are powerful. They are the stitches that repair a torn narrative. They are even that quilt that show that this whole idea of quilts is not simply a metaphor, but a living contact zone between the present and the past that still breathes. Yes, it's still alive. As we continue to stitch these quilts together, we must remember the ethics of care that a relationship like this requires. Honoring the role of figures such as Janet Onoy, like the Honorable Mayor talked about, also known as John Cunning, and contemporary Ghanaian leaders like Joe Beyu Ansah means telling their stories fully and honestly, not romanticizing, not erasing, and certainly not diminishing the complexity of their histories. When we display kente in our civic spaces or schools, we should credit Bonure, Adomasi, Patoy, and other weaving communities where these clothes are made. When we host Ghanaian delegations, we should ensure their voices lead the conversation about what cultural exchange looks like. When we teach our children, we must include histories that acknowledge both suffering and resilience, injustice, creativity, and the opportunities the future presents. Ultimately, the Cultural Quilt is an ongoing project. Thank you, Catherine, for putting this together. Thank you, Madam Ambassador Bridgewater, for all the efforts you put into making this happen. And there's one name I can't stop mentioning. Thank you, Dr. Paula Royster, for initiating this process. The patchwork of this relationship holds both the stain of difficult history and the bright threads of shared creativity. It asks us to be careful and generous in equal measure. Careful in how we handle memory and generous in how we extend welcoming partnerships. If we treat the cultural quilt with reverence, curiosity, and responsibility, we will make room for a future in which our shared history enriches our shared present. We will ensure that the threads binding Fredericksburg and Princess Town, Bokeso. Don't you love the sound of it? Bokeso. Grow stronger, brighter, and truer. We will keep sewing until our quilt tells a fuller, fairer, and more beautiful story. Obviously, and how we can come together to create a single entity of positivity for our future. I thank you all for the gift of your attention, and now permit me to say, long live Princess Town, since I want to walk out of here with my citizenship intact. The mayor is here, and he might refuse me access back into Princess Town. So now that that is out of the way, let's also say long live Ghana. That Temakwara is here, they're Ghanaians, and I appreciate their presence. Thank you for coming here, especially after a long trip. We appreciate you. And of course, long live Fredericksburg, and long live Virginia. And last but not the least, happy birthday, United States of America.
Thank you, Oral. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We now have a few moments to take questions. So this is the portion of our program for audience participation. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and I will acknowledge you. Or a comment. Any? Okay, if you don't, Catherine Willis would like to make an announcement.
I have to tell you, I have been so impressed with the talent, the dedication, the vision of the people that I have met over the last week. And I'm heartened that our city has come out to welcome them and to hear them. So thank you all. I wanted to give you a little background about Oral. He signs his emails, your humble servant. But listen to this guy. He was born in Tema, Ghana, and he founded the African Dream Consultancy, which is a US-based advocacy which is recognized internationally for bringing together different elements of Africa so that culturally, educationally, governmentally, economically, and I guess spiritually, the world can have a platform to know them better. Recently, Oral was a major speaker at the African National Congress, where representatives of all the nations of Africa came. He is quite young, but he is very well listened to. He is a graduate of the London School of Journalism. He runs a blog, and through the African Dream, he connects the diaspora of Ghanaians and Africans, and he is well respected and well followed. He is considered a reliable source. I think what he has done with his life is remarkable. In his own words, the African Dream bridges Africa, its diaspora, and the world through authentic storytelling and innovative media. We deliver tailored strategies prioritizing genuine African narratives, fostering development, and enhancing cooperation between the continent and its global community. What an ambition, what a vision. I think he deserves our sincere support. I also want to say a word about Lord Owusu Mensah, our honorable mayor and our guest. He is also remarkable in his own way. He is quite young, what, 30?
29.
Well, in his 30s, which to me is like a child. Right. He has a personal philosophy that guides him. He was raised in a Christian household. He follows Christian principles, and he sees himself as a servant leader. He takes this role very seriously. His personal and governing mantra is Christ-centric change. According to what he has talked about, he governs with a philosophy of community transformation, youth empowerment, education, and leadership by adults with a Christian vision, also servant leaders. He believes in cultural preservation and moral leadership. He holds a BA from the University of Education in Winnipeg and several certifications in Christian ministry and leadership. My friends, this is the future of Africa, and we are honored to have these young leaders here.
Yes.
I also want to say that Princess Town is an excellent example of this spirit of coming together to solve problems communally. And one of the things that they are doing, and they are almost finished, they are building a clinic. And there are groups in Fredericksburg and individuals in Fredericksburg who are contributing to the completion of this clinic, which is desperately needed. So I send that message out to you. Powell is right there, and he is the treasurer of the newly certified 501c3 Princess Town, Ghana. We have a marvelous opportunity here to help the young people carry out the vision that their adult leadership is modeling for them. And I think that we are, in many ways, blessed here in Fredericksburg to have this connection. So I give that to you as a parting thought. We will be we skipped July and August. It's too hot for anything. But in September, on September 17th, Dr. Legnath Adhikari, who is PhD in chemistry and teaches at the community college in Rappahannock, will be our lead speaker for our final lecture, which is for our sister city, which is
Kathmandu.
thank you, I'm sorry, Kathmandu, Nepal, and that is a special story. Fredericksburg has this wonderful relationship with these sister cities, and they just seem to come to us. I think we're blessed by that. Anyway, I will see you in September.
Thank you, Catherine. We're heading towards the end of our program. I would like to invite the Tema Choir Ensemble under the direction of Mr. Ebenezer Atole, and they will be singing the Ghana National Anthem. So please stand up. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Again, my name is Sarah Artson. I'm the president of the Fredericksburg Princess Town Association. Thank you for being with us.